In this video, we're going to answer two questions. First, what is the absolute upper limit of 6-arc performance? And second, what is it going to take to blow up some Alpha brass? We're going to see. Hey guys, Gavin Gear here from UltimateReloader.com. That's right, we are going to push 6-arc to the absolute limit in this video. Oh, I think we're in business. Now, just from the get-go, I want to make sure that things are extra clear. Do not, under any circumstances, attempt what we're going to be doing in this video. This is for research purposes only. This is not safe to do. Do not do this at home. Don't repeat anything that we do in this video. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, I want to do a quick recap and review. We've done a couple really intense high pressure testing stories with Alpha brass in the past. One that you're going to want to check out is our pushing 308 Winchester beyond 30-06 up into the middle of 300 Win Mag performance territory. That was absolutely crazy, and one of my proudest moments was a first round impact with that turbocharged load at 1,390 yards. That's right, with the 308. We're kind of into the Hail Mary context now.
Are we talking two? You got this ridge, the next ridge, and then the far ridge?
The far ridge, yeah. He's in the little clearing right at the ridge line there.
Got it.
Offset to the right. See him?
Yep.
Okay. You guys with me?
Yep.
Okay. I'm level. Shooting. Okay. Hit.
You lucky bugger.
First round impact at 1390. Totally insane story. Really fun to work with Bruce Tom on that one. We did a follow-up where we took 6 GT and we pushed it beyond 6 Creed. In that story, we actually had an EPVAT case neck pressure port style pressure testing setup. And we confirmed that we were able to push Alpha brass way, way beyond what Sammy recommends. And we could push the performance potential beyond what 6 Creed can do. Now we're left with the question, what about 6-arc? 6-arc has become incredibly popular, both in the bolt gun world and in the AR-15 world, in the world that it was actually designed for. So what I thought I would do is start with a great powder to push this high performance potential, and what we chose was 8208 XBR. We talked with the guys at Alpha. They did a similar test. They didn't push things quite as far, and they were able to get exceptional performance. So what we did for the bolt gun test was I put together the bolt gun that you've seen here on the channel. I had this configured differently. Screwed the barrel back on, we put an optic on it, put it back in the stock. We threw a suppressor on it because it's winter now and we're going to be testing this from indoors. Really nice to be able to shoot indoors when we need to. So we've got the bolt gun set up. This is with a BAT TR. We've got a 24-inch barrel that we chambered here on the channel. This is actually the same rifle that we used in the Rockchuck Olympics for the ELR stage. So you're going to want to check out the build video on that, and then also the Rockchuck Olympics footage, because we were able to get on target at, I think that was 1290, where we were shooting from.
Eric Cortina makes our first hit on target with the 6-arc bolt gun.
So this is a really good shooting gun, and the BAT actions are super, super strong. So when we're going to be pushing performance to the max, this is the kind of rifle that we use. So we got some brand new Alpha Munitions brass. This has their OCD technology, optimized case head design. We've had great luck pushing performance with Alpha brass, and so we thought this would be a good component to use for the testing. And what we did was I loaded up 8 loads that are basically incremented 1 grain at a time. So we started at 24, then went up to 25, all the way up to 31 grains. And what happened at 31 grains was, that was absolute max. If we went over 31 grains, we started to bulge the case neck because we were just so compressed that there was nowhere else for the powder to go but to bulge the case neck. So basically, for 8208 XBR and for the 6-arc, with our bullet seated out as far as we felt comfortable, we're basically at 31 grains. So we loaded them all up on the zero press and set up the rifle shooting out the back door and proceeded to capture chronograph data. Here we're using the Athlon Rangecraft. It is a Doppler-based radar that has worked really well for us. Okay, so that was 24 grains. We got 24 feet per second. Now, what we're hoping here is that we could push things up to 3,000 feet per second. Would be crazy. Hornady factory ammo advertises 2,750 feet per second. And for 6 Creedmoor, if you go all the way up there, they're at 2,960. So we feel like if we could get to 3,000 feet per second, that would be absolutely amazing. Okay, so shot number 2 landed at 2,530 feet per second. Shot number 3 landed at 2,625 feet per second. So basically at this point, we're adding about 100 feet per second per additional grain of powder that we're stuffing into the case. That is pretty amazing. When we go up to 27, we're up to 2723 feet per second. 28 grains yielded 2,813 feet per second. We had an exactly 100-foot jump between 28 and 29. 29 grains pushed us up to 2,913 feet per second. Okay, so here I'm starting to see the most subtle signs of pressure on the rim. I'm not getting any bolt lift. So I decided to go up to 30. And we went up to 30 grains. We topped 3,000 feet per second. We went up to 3,012 feet per second. This is starting to get in the insane territory. But I wasn't done yet. I wanted to see if I could push this case to the absolute max with 8208 XBR. This is the maximum amount of powder that we can cram into this case. 31 grains. I will admit I was a little bit nervous pulling the trigger, and do not try and duplicate this. Boom. 3,092 feet per second. And here we saw an increased level of pressure signs. And the primer looked good. The primer was intact. It did not pop out. It did not get pierced. But I did see some ejector depression swipe and some swipe on the other side as well. Nothing too crazy, nothing that was rough to the touch, but I was glad that I couldn't cram more powder in the case. So 3,092 feet per second. How does this compare to Hornady's factory spec for their 6-ARC ammo? They're at 2,750. That means we're 342 feet per second over a popular factory load. And what's even crazier is if we look at Hornady's 6mm Creedmoor, and this is with 108 grain ELDM bullets, so only a grain different than our Berger 109 hybrid. They spec 2,960, and Hornady factory ammo typically pushes things pretty far. I've seen pressure signs even with factory ammo, specifically with 6-ARC, I can recall with an AR. They're advertising 2,960 feet per second, and that means the humble 6-ARC was able to beat that velocity by 132 feet per second. Would I run this load? No. This is definitely over pressure. But the brass held up. The brass looked like it could possibly take even a little bit more, which is absolute insanity. So we took 6-ARC and we went way past the 6-ARC factory spec. We went past 6GT, and we even went past 6 Creedmoor. This is absolutely insane. So the downside was we weren't able to blow up the Alpha brass. So the next experiment that we had planned was an AR-15. Okay, so for the AR-15, we had parts I put together. We're going to start at 23 grains. We're going to go all the way up to 31 grains again, that maximum load, as much powder as we could cram in the case. Now things are getting a little bit dicey, right? We don't have the same kind of support and the same kind of strength that we have with the BAT TR bolt action here. We're talking an AR-15. So what is going to happen? Well, at 23 grains, our velocity was 1,977 feet per second. At 24, we went up to 2278, 25, 2378. You see a similar pattern here. Adding a grain of powder is adding about 100 feet per second. 26 brought us up to 2473, 27 up to 2567, 28 up to 2677, 29 up to 2739. We're starting to see intense pressure signs. The case rim is just getting absolutely hammered here. And that very likely has to do with less support on the case rim where the extractor and the ejector are, and just that geometry that I talked about where the case head is being allowed to swell a bit because we've got 8 thousandths extra clearance beyond the clearance that would be typical on a standard bolt face. So we're pulling the trigger with the string, as you might have noticed here, right? And we decided, let's go ahead and do it. Let's do 30 grains. So 30 grains brought us up to 2,820. The pressure signs are getting even more intense here. We're having to actually pull the case out of the bolt. So then we decided, why not? Let's go all the way up to 31 grains, just like we did with the bolt gun. And that yielded 2,822 feet per second. So we're 250 feet per second under where we got with the bolt gun. Part of that is barrel length. And then the other part of it is the gas system. And so we were not able to blow up an AR with alpha brass with an appropriate powder. So you know what that means, right? Let's go with an inappropriate powder. So I was shocked that we were not able to blow up the AR with 31 grains of 8208 XBR. I mean, this thing is so far over pressure, it's not even funny. And we're talking about an AR. You know, we got to be north of 80,000 PSI. This is absolutely ridiculous. This should not be happening. But I thought, let's not take no for an answer. So we got some Hodgdon Universal clays. And so this is a shotgun and pistol powder. Is really popular. And we didn't do any kind of work up here. We basically just filled the case until it looked like, you know, basically up to the top and hoping that it would compress. Placed the bullet. That turned out to be 21.8 grains of clays. This powder is way too fast. This is literally like making a bomb. Again, do not do this. Don't even think about doing this, right? The bullet did seat, and I very carefully chambered the round. We closed the door. I'm waiting there with the rope. 21.8 clays. This is the pistol load. Oh, I think we're in business.
Dude, that startled me.
And boom, instantly the sound was completely different. Let's take a look at what happened. Whoa. Okay. That came out. Oh, the mag is gone.
Oh!
Oh! Oh, dude, look at that. Wow. Won't open. Okay, so what you can see is basically the bolt carrier blew up where the bolt goes in. And we also had a flame come out of the ejection port out the top. So basically flames out the bottom, flames out the top. The magazine got blown up, the floor plate blew off, the spring blew out. I mean, this is some serious destruction. Let's take a look at what the AR looks like. So here are the pieces and parts of the AR as seen right after the explosion. And as you can see here, this is the bottom of the bolt carrier. The metal separated and folded open there. The bolt is stuck in the barrel extension. And so it'd be really interesting to cut this apart and kind of see what's left in there. I did have to cut the back of the lower receiver to get it to swing down because of where the bolt carrier is stuck. You can see there's a little bit of distortion in the kind of magwell area. Other than that, I didn't see too much. I did have to cut the back just to wrench it open there. And then the magazine, you can see it's quite flared at the bottom there. Blew out the floor plate, and we've got, you know, other parts here too. So the AR destruction wasn't quite as explosive as what I pictured in my head. I just pictured the entire upper and lower just completely blowing up. But that's not typically how things happen. And these firearm systems are designed to vent gases, right? And that's exactly what happened. It vented down, and it also vented out of the ejection port. The dust cover was bent as well. Actually, it's a pretty violent event, as you can see in this slow motion footage. So interesting results, and definitely a great testament to Alpha Munitions brass. I mean, if you look at what it took us going completely off the script and going with a pistol powder that's way, way too fast to create the explosive effect. So OCD technology, definitely amazing here. And then also on the precision side, if you look at the 6 Dasher build that I did and shot Virgin 6 Dasher brass and was able to shoot a 5-shot group in the zeros, 0.090 inches for 5 shots. It's not just about the strength, it's also about the consistency and precision. But before we conclude the video, I did want to take a look at the numbers from our bolt action test, because a couple things that we can take a look at when we're looking at pressure signs on brass is the base diameter right there ahead of the extraction groove, right around the 0.2 line on the SAMI reference, and then also the diameter of the extraction groove. And if we look at the data, basically both of those dimensions were increased by about 0.005 of an inch. If you've got a couple tenths that you're going up on your base diameter, that is a sign that there's some big pressure there. So this is kind of crazy. Base groove total was 4.85 thousandths of an inch, and extractor groove total growth was 5.5 thousandths of an inch. So that's another thing that you can take a look at if you're concerned about high pressure with your loads, is take a really high quality micrometer. We use Mitutoyo digital micrometers, and get that measurement. Our extractor groove measurement was used digital calipers, which only have a 0.5 thousandth resolution. So that data is subject to more error, obviously. But the base diameter growth is definitely a solid number. And if we look at graphs, you know, velocity grew very linearly. Base diameter, pretty linear here. And then I think mostly because of measurement error, the extractor groove diameter kind of jumps around a little bit. But what's truly amazing is if we take a look at the velocity that we attained with the destruction of the AR. So if you're willing to completely destroy your AR, you can get up to 4,728 feet per second. That's right. That's beyond a 22-250 with a 55 grain bullet. And here we've got a 6mm, 109 grain bullet. Absolutely insane that we were able to capture that shot. And that velocity is complete insanity. I wonder if the bullet held together. Probably not. But we didn't have a camera downrange, so who knows really what happened there. So my question for you is, what did you think about the tests that we run? You know, we went well beyond 6GT with a 6 ARC. In fact, we even eclipsed 6 Creedmoor. And that was with our bolt gun. Again, this is not a load that I would run, but we demonstrated the performance potential of this cartridge, pushed way to the max for pressure testing purposes. Do not do this at home. One more time. And then with the AR-15, it was also able to hold together with the same crazy high pressure load, albeit stuck in the bolt, had to basically pull the brass out, lots more pressure signs on the brass there, as you would expect. And then the way that the AR-15 was destroyed, was that what you would have predicted? Was it different? Have you heard of this experiment being done? Did it look differently? Drop a comment. We'll join you guys down there in the comments section. Now, we've got a lot more cool content coming up with Alpha Munitions, including a very cool PRS build that I'll be able to tell you about shortly. So make sure that you're subscribed with notifications. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're watching Ultimate Reloader on TV and want to take advantage of free resources, exclusives, and hot deals, just hold your camera phone up to the QR code, tap on the link, fill out the information, boom, you're getting Ultimate Reloader emails. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. Thanks again for watching.